Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. All right, I'm in the Emirates and I'm back with another video. I am sort of losing a little bit of motivation, and I think it happens with most YouTubers. I am not naked. I'm wearing this tank top, and I think it does. I'm just having one of those moments. So anyway, I'm back with another video very quickly. I don't want you guys to think that I'm so lost and I'm not making videos anymore. I'm still gathering my motivation, and of course I'm not gonna stop filming, but you guys just give me more morale. I need it. So anyway, I want to make this video, and first of all, let me take this time to thank everybody who has subscribed to this channel, and the people who are new here, welcome. My name is Empress. I am your Empress. Everybody who tunes in here is an Empress for some reason. And in here, we come on just the way we are. We don't put on makeup. We are trying to lay off the security blanket. We are trying to come in our most natural form. And I encourage each and every one of you to not be afraid of coming, presenting yourself to the world in your most natural form. Because you guys, I don't know why I'm shouting, I'm whispering. You guys, it's like this is gonna be a video for another day about self-esteem, coming out of being feeling low, and coming out of feeling inadequate. I actually made that video, but then I was supposed to upload it yesterday, but I said I'm not gonna upload it because I didn't like how that video came out. I was a bit, I don't know. Anyway, so I'm going to make a video regarding that. And lately I have not been putting on makeup, even going to work. Like, I just do my eyebrows, and I just like sort of I've seen, since I stopped caking my face, I've seen that my complexion is breathing a little bit more and is glowing a little bit more. So yeah, I'm embracing that and I'm loving it so far. So anyway, you have seen by the title of this video, and I think this video, I don't know how to be naughty, you guys, because a lot of people get so offended easily here on YouTube. So I don't know how to be naughty, because I'm not just too open like that. I would like to be, but I'm not yet. But anyway, I want to give you guys a video on my first time. I don't know how this is gonna turn out, but the first times, everybody have their first times, you guys. Everybody have their first times. So what can I say? Okay, growing up in Africa, in specifically the part of Africa was Kenya. So I grew up in the most rural part of Kenya. And you guys, the struggle was real growing up there. I didn't have a mom growing up. I sort of grew up being raised, going from home to home, living from house to house. I felt like I was a foster kid. That is just how I grew up, being toasted from relative to relative, relatives, friends to, that's just how I grew up. So anyway, so we were never ever taught like how to, especially, okay, firstly, let me start by when I get out of my teenagehood, and when I started becoming a when I hit my adolescent. It's like I was at 10 years old, I was still flat chested. At 11 years old, I was still flat chested. At 12 years old, I was still flat chested. Then from nowhere, at 13 years old, I started having these ranging hormones, and this, like everything starts growing. And not that, actually not, I think at 15 or 14, that is when I started like developing a little bit more. And 16, it became so, oh my God. So, when we were young, okay, this video is gonna come out very randomly and abrupt, so just take whatever you're gonna take from this video. So when we were young, I remember, because my mom and dad separated, and then at some point when we started growing up, and I think maybe probably my mom wanted us to know who our dad is, because obviously we had a dad. So she sort of just put us in a bus, and explained to us, this is where you have to go. You will find your father there. Go, get in the bus and go to your father. I've had enough of you guys. But remember that my mom was a co-wife, and her other co-wife was back home, who has been always staying back home, And so when we went, I had gone there when I hadn't even started my puberty. So my mom didn't have time to raise us. Like she just had her own things going on. Anyway, may God rest her soul. So when I started growing, I remember when we were young, we used to shower outside. So this is the first time I realized that I was actually growing. We used to shower outside, oh my gosh, shower outside. Like, the kids are always exempted from going to shower in the bathrooms and stuff. So we always used to shower by the lawn, like just outside in the porch. And then I remember me and my stepsister, we always showered together. We did a lot of things together, when I first came to when we first came to my other mom's house. We used to stay there for a couple of months before we moved out. So anyway, we used to shower together, and then I could always realize that my other stepsister, of course, she was growing a bit ahead than me. I think I probably might be 1 year older than her, but she was a bit more quick in growing up. So then I hadn't started growing, the lady bits, things. Then one time my dad was always okay with us showering outside. Then one time we went to the river, we fetched water. At times we used to actually shower in the river and then carry water on our heads and come back, I'm gonna install some pictures over here just to show you guys how we used to kind of fetch, because there's no running water in our village. So then we came, and sometimes we used to shower in the village. This time we didn't. So sometimes we used to come and shower at home. Then we were showering outside, and then my dad never used to have a problem with us showering outside. And my dad was funny. I don't know. There's just something about my father. He used to just like randomly shout and throw things, and you're in deep ish when he's like this. So this day my dad came out and saw us showering just by the porch. And then he looked at first, he used to look at us like, not in a, but like, those are kids. We are kids. So he never used to pay attention or anything. Then one day he came out, and I don't know what he saw, I don't know what my father saw. And then he realized, oh God, these children have started growing up. The lady bits had started developing. We hadn't even realized that our lady bits had started developing, that we needed to actually hide while showering. So this day, the day my dad chased us away, and I remember we were running naked with the buckets of water, running to the bathroom, and my dad was like, you have started growing up, and now you're big girls, you're not supposed to shower here, go. I think he saw something that he wasn't supposed to see. And we were only allowed to shower outside in the lawn when we hadn't started developing lady bits. But when my dad realized that we started developing, oh my God, it was like, you are not showering here, you go. And then I remember when I first started growing up my boobs, I was probably in primary school, and in my class, people were so mean. In my school, the kids were so mean. Like, the minute you start growing your boobs, people used to bully us, because in the African, somehow, I don't know what told these kids, they was like saying that if you started growing boobs, if your boobs are protruding, meaning that a man is touching your boobs, like you're sexually active. So for me, when they started protruding, I was so shy, and I was walking like this, because my mom was not around to tell us, the changes that you're gonna see in your body and whatnot. So it's just things that we had to recognize by our own selves, and actually, learn to deal with. So then I was like very conscious. So when I went to school, I was so sad during that period of my time, because I was sad, because I was afraid of children bullying me, because I saw other girls who developed boobs earlier than me. They were getting bullied in school. So then I remember when my boobs, every time, like when they start growing, they become hard and very painful. So they were so hard and painful, and I was always crying, and because they were so painful. Even if somebody touched it, like not touched it, like if somebody hit me by mistake, I was just feeling so much pain. So I didn't realize what was this, but anyway, and I hadn't reached the class where they were teaching us about puberty and stuff like that. So and then I remember when I was growing up until I was 16, I was always bandaging my breasts, bandaging with like a elastic skirt, so that it looks that I had nothing, so the kids will leave me alone. The boys in my school would leave me alone and stop bullying me. And then on top of that, I started my menses at around 16, lady days. And I was like, I remember the day, nobody tells you, because I remember my elder sister started, I saw my elder sister was always washing her linens. We don't have like always, or what is it called, like panty, what is this called, like pads. We don't have it. We never used to have it. So we used to cut old clothes and anything that is old, towels and stuff, and then we used to fold it nicely and make it like a napkin. That is what we used to, my sister used to put. So every time I saw her, she was always like washing these things and hanging. And these things, you have to wash them and hang them, wash them. You know how smelly, like how not nice, of course, but this is how every girl in my rural place was surviving during their menses days. So then I saw my elder sister was always washing these things, and I was always like disgusted. And I knew, of course, this is, she started her periods. And then my other elder sister started, and I was laughing at her. And I remember we used to be in the same class. I was laughing at her. Little did I know that mine was supposed to be starting just when I was 16. And I remember I went to collect firewood in the forest. And I was just like, and you guys remember, before I started my menses, my hormones were super ranging, like when from 13 going on 14 before I reached 15, my hormones were super ranging. I was so like, my body was just acting up. And I remember one time my mom sent me to go and I was supposed to do a sleepover in this woman's house. And this woman had a son, of course. So this boy is I think he was probably younger than me. I don't know how old, but he was younger than me. And but we were in the same school, same primary school, but probably 2 years or 3 years younger than me. So I was supposed to share a bed with this boy. And I remember all this crazy, like I was just getting naughty in my head. And then when I when it reached the time that my hormones were just ranging and la la la, you want to be touched, you want to do crazy things, you want to do bad things. We used to call them bad things, bad manners. So then I remember asking this boy to do bad manners with me. We used to call it tabia baya, to do bad manners with me. And I'm like, this boy turned me down. And then after that, I was just like, okay, whatever. Then I remember the whole night I was just like really suffering, if you guys know what I mean. And I was just toasting and turning. I want this boy to do bad manners with me. Why this boy is refusing to do bad manners with me now? I want bad manners now. I want bad manners. And then this boy, the next day, he went and told his mom, and he told his mom that I was asking him for bad manners. So I was so embarrassed, because I remember when he was telling his mom, I was just like, oh God. And I refused. I said, I didn't do it. I didn't say, I kind of refused and said no. I denied everything, every allegations I denied. Then I remember when I started my peds. After that, my mom, the only word he told us that if you start your pits and if any man touch you like this, you get pregnant. So I remember my elder sister had gotten pregnant, and I didn't want to go through that. So every time after that, I was like, oh, nobody's supposed to touch you, otherwise you get pregnant. And I remember when I first started my periods, I was so super scared even to go to school, because if the kids find out even further that I had started my periods, all hell will break loose. All the girls who used to have their periods used to get so much bullied. They used to just sit in a corner and they become less playful. They were not playing, They were afraid of their small, the little rags falling off with blood, and, everyone embarrassing them, because sometimes they didn't have bikers to hold the little rag, So sometimes it could slip and fall, flip, slide and fall. So some girls, I used to remember, even when we were in parade, some girls used to be so embarrassed. Sometimes they used to have it on their legs, like dripping on their legs, when people are in parade. And I used to hate it. Like I used to say, oh my God, I don't want this to happen to me, because kids can be so mean, and together with teachers, because they will send you back home and you will be doing the work of shame. You will be crying. You don't want to come back to school again. So I remember the first time you were taught about this stuff, and this makes me feel like I really want to make a project where I'm going to actually go to rural areas in schools and to distribute panty pads. I would like to do this honestly, because when I was growing up, nobody, like, I remember the first time we were ever taught about, my mom only said if somebody touch you, you're gonna get pregnant. But the first time we ever got taught about this was these people from Always, these people, they were distributing free Always in our school. And I remember they were giving us a session about the periods and why there is periods and lala. And I remember I hadn't started. I was not yet 16, because I remember I started mine at 16. I hadn't really started. And then the first time I started, they had given us a couple of oil, like 3 pieces each to every girl. So I kept it so dearly, just the day I started. So I remember when I first started my periods, I was just so scared and I cried the whole night. And I was like, remember, they come and then go for a couple of months and then they come back again. So I remember I went to the toilet and realized I had them, and I was like, no, 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 it's not happening. Like, something might have bite me down there, because there's blood. Why is there blood? I'm too young for this. And then anyway, little did I know that I had started. So after a couple of months, it came back full swing. And I remember I was going in the forest to fetch firewood, and I was just sitting there and praying to God and saying to God, why are you punishing me like this? Why? I can't walk, I can't talk, I can't, like, I was just sad, sitting on a stone, just being sad. And I was just like, it's the worst punishment that ever happened to me. How am I gonna go to school? How are the people going to look at me? How, like, it's something that I was so super embarrassed. I felt like I did something wrong to deserve having my periods. I didn't know, like, I didn't know, like, in our schools, I think we were not taught these kind of things until later, when we were in high school or something like this. People don't touch on this, or even if they touched about it, I was just like, it's gonna happen to me, but very late. Like, why is it happening to me now? So anyway, and then the first time I remember again. So this time I think I was maybe 15 years old. And then there was this this boy. Again, we used to do a lot of sleepovers. Our moms used to let us do sleepovers, because sometimes they used to go to some funeral committees at night, and then they need somebody to take care of to look after their houses, for burglars not to break in. So I remember this boy. He was, I think, in 2 classes behind me. So I was just like, I had a sleepover in his mom's house. And that day, of course, I was like, I'm almost starting my piece, because I might start them anytime soon, because they started and then disappeared for another year. So I was like, oh God, if anything happens, I had naughty brain in my mind, because obviously I was gonna sharing a bed with a boy. And then I was like, oh my God, okay. Then I started having these naughty thoughts. And when you're getting excited, it's the D-Day, ooh, lulu, you're gonna get a D. I'm getting excited something. I was like, oh, today I'm going to sleep in their house, la la, things will happen, la la, and it's just me and him, la la. And then I remember when I went there, I was like sleeping at the edge of the bed. I was like, it's not gonna happen. This boy, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Guess what? It happened. And then this boy was naughtier than me. He's the one who was getting bothered, and he's the one who was waking me up in my sleep. I was really pretending to be sleeping and not sleeping. He's like bothering me throughout the night, and like like trying to get in from, he was sleeping in my back, trying, and I'm like, I just give in. And it happened. But then it happened two, I think it took 1 second or something, because I felt something stinging and something painful, and then I was just like, stop. Then it stopped. It never went anywhere further than that. So it was not something that I would say that it took, like, it was experimental. I could say it felt good, very, very good. At the same time, it felt a bit painful. You guys know what I'm talking about. So from then onwards, I was just like, when I saw him in school, I was just like, oh God, pretend you didn't see him. Yeah, la 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 la. Oh my God, the walk of fame, say shame. And I remember throughout my high school, throughout my primary school, I was still in primary school. So I remember when I was young, I used to be super, super naughty. Like, oh God, I don't even know. But I think it happened only that one time with that boy that it actually really happened. Otherwise, after that, then I got saved at 16. I got saved the same year I got my period. I got saved. And then from then we used to go to this Christian camp, and I became so super religious. I became religious. I'm saved. I'm waiting till my wedding night and la la la. So, and I remember even when we didn't know how to take care of yourself, especially when you have the periods, because I remember nobody taught us anything. So we could have rags. You find rags. We don't have periods. We don't have pads, nothing. So you have to find rags from your clothes, old clothes and stuff, and you have to fold them and then tuck them in there. When you have your periods, wash them and then keep them for the next time when you had them. So that's how we did survive. And a lot of girls are now surviving like that same, I think. So I think that is my story about my first times, living in Kenya, in rural Kenya. it was it was really tough, but it's an experience that has really shaped me. I wouldn't trade anything from it. But then if somebody tells me to go back to my childhood, to go back to those days, I don't think I would like to go back, because it was really, really tough. But somehow we managed. So anyway, you guys, I hope you like this video. If you do, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in my next video. Have a lovely day. Bye.
Kadege kojango mawodu dongo jabendoga yandege kolumbo mam uyani budi diamo moyo go bana